First, a little heads up. I won't be posting a lot of my artworks for a few days now because I'm immersed in a process of work in which I have to paint this big custom art piece. And the thing is that when I'm immersed in that type of process, I find it hard to keep making videos and posting because I find it annoying because I wanna, when I'm painting these big artworks, I like to be in them, you know. I like to be as present as I can be, and the cell phone and the making videos, they distract me a little. But if I feel it, I will make a video, probably one or two. But just this heads up, because and discussing that is interesting because I tend to use the internet, such as social networks and all. I use it as play. Just a few days ago, I was hearing a speech by Alan Watts, and he's talking about Maya, about the world of illusion, samsara, and that we should play in this reality. Because if we see, the word play is used in many contexts. You can use as playing an instrument, playing in the field like kids running around, or playing in the sense of gambling or something like that. That would be this life would be this gamble, according to this point of view, in which we need to play. So in social networks, for example, I like to be my own character, to create this character, to create this image, but not for the others, but for myself. I believe that it must be it all must be amusing for oneself first, because when you do it driven to the necessity to please others, it gets a little weird. You know what I mean? Get a little bit anxious, you know. But when we discuss this type of understanding of reality, such as Maya, this illusion, the very understanding that everything here is flimsy and in constant process of change is interesting, because when we look from the standpoint of the observer, reality becomes a reflection, and that is something to consider. Because when I look at myself, I try to see me as the main character of a large movie. That is interesting because when I'm hearing music, when I'm talking to people and all that, when we put the observer in place, it's a very interesting experience, because one can look at reality and laugh at it, because ultimately the laugh probably will be the greatest enlightenment, the complete freedom into just laugh on everything. That is interesting because I told you guys that I'm immersed in this big painting now, and it's very interesting because in this process of painting these big artworks, it's a constant struggle between what I see as perfection, what I want to do, what my unconscious is bringing to me. It is interesting, and at the same time, it is like diving in an ocean of possibilities, you know, to explore oneself and the capacity of imagination and creativity. It is good. It is good. But as I was saying, to play in this reality, in fact, would be everything, because we're in a constant gamble in our minds, looking for something, and then the feeling that it's been lost. For example, I heard something like this: the urge to have and the boredom of having. Like this, sadness for not having, and then boredom for having. It is interesting because is a constant struggle between those two lines. And when in fact the very verb to have is the answer, because we don't have anything. Everything is in a constant process of change, of passing, and such everything in this material reality, and so ourselves. So we play with things. I remember when I was a kid, I liked to play with my toys, but I don't have none of those toys anymore. None of those toys. They're gone. But at that time, they felt eternal. Maybe because I was a kid, probably. But I understood that the kid was not interested in the materiality itself, but in the structure he created with his mind as an adventure, as something beyond the material reality. And that's the answer of today. How can we find the real play in our lives? That is, how can we play for real? Instead of work, instead of stress, instead of attachment. How can we just play with this reality? Remember, not in the bad sense of the word, to play, to submit or to explore someone or other things, but to experience life in a more lighter way, in a more serene way, but at the same time at its maximum level. And at the end, it all goes back to consciousness after all. You know what I mean? In this dystopic reality, awareness, consciousness is getting to its place of importance. Because from any standpoint, what lies in the end is consciousness. Whether on a dualistic point of view, whether on a monolithic point of view. Or is many, or is just one. And that's the answer. This gamble between these two positions is struggling and looking for balance within each and every one of us. That's something to consider. Remember, I told you I won't be posting many in the next few days, but I will go back. Since then, peace to you all. Let's keep on breathing. After all, everything is Mandala.